This is the Italian Citizenship Podcast, hosted by Marco Permunian and Rafael Di Furia. Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Italian Citizenship Podcast, presented by ItaliancitizenshipAssistance.com. Of course, we are back at it again with Italian attorney Marco Permunian. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great, thank you. And in this episode, we wanted to talk about a very important referendum coming up in Italy regarding citizenship through naturalization. And on January 20th, 2025, the Constitutional Court in Italy ruled that this referendum would be constitutionally admissible to be able to talk about the amount of time that it would take to get Italian citizenship through naturalization, bringing it from 10 years down to 5 years. But Marco, can you tell us a little bit more about this referendum and where this is coming from and why this is happening?
Law 91 of 1992 had established that in order to become an Italian citizen through naturalization, it was necessary to reside in Italy for a period of time of 10 years. Of course, by 10 years of residency, the legislator meant legal residency. So it was and it is still necessary to reside in Italy from a legal standpoint for a period of time of 10 years. So if you are a non-EU citizen, you need to have a visa or residency permit that allows you to reside in Italy. And again, after 10 years, you can apply for citizenship through naturalization. What is now being proposed through the referendum is that the period of time that is required to gain citizenship through naturalization is lowered to 5 years. So if the referendum passes, the law will change and it will be possible to become an Italian citizen through naturalization after a period of time of 5 years rather than 10 years. But let's take a step back. What happened last year is that 500,000 signatures were collected, and which is what is necessary for a referendum to be proposed. But let's take a step back. What happened last year is that 500,000 signatures were collected, which is what necessary for a referendum to be proposed. And in January, the Constitutional Court, as you just mentioned, has declared that the referendum is not against the Italian Constitution. So it's compliant with the Italian Constitution and therefore can be successfully proposed. And while an exact date for the referendum has not been established yet, we know that it will happen between April the 15th and June the 15th. It will be possible to cast your vote online, and at least half of the eligible voters will have to vote in order for the referendum to take place successfully. And the law will be changed only if at least half of the voters plus one will say yes to the change in the law. And again, if the referendum is approved, the law that establishes that it's necessary to reside in Italy for 10 years before it's possible to apply for citizenship through naturalization will be changed. And the new law will say that it is sufficient to reside in Italy for a period of time of 5 years in order to be able to apply for citizenship through naturalization.
Well, Marco, there's something very interesting that you mentioned in there, which sounds very future forward, to be able to make a vote online. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that works?
Yeah, as of 2021, it's possible to cast your vote online in a referendum, and you have to use your online official profile assigned to you by the Italian government, which is called SPID. So it's a system that the government has created, and it's basically your online identity in the eyes of the Italian government. You need to register, and then you can use the SPID system to cast your vote. So you can do it from your home. And of course, that also is very beneficial for Italian citizens who reside abroad.
Well, Marco, that's very interesting. And I'm just wondering, because we're talking about citizenship through naturalization, of course, anybody who is applying for citizenship by descent, who's making their petition or going through the court for citizenship by descent, this is not something that affects them in any way, correct?
Of course, citizenship through naturalization includes citizenship through residency, so people who acquire Italian citizenship by residing in Italy for a certain number of years, which like I just said, is 10 years, and they're trying to change it and make it 5 years. And also it includes citizenship that is acquired through marriage, and they fall under the umbrella of citizenship through naturalization. Of course, there is also other categories that fall under the umbrella of citizenship through naturalization, meaning citizenship for stateless individuals and citizenship for adopted individuals who were adopted after they turned 18, so as adults. Both of these types of individuals can apply for citizenship through naturalization after having resided in Italy for 5 years under the current laws. So basically, if the referendum is successful, the people who are applying for citizenship through residency and fall into the general category would be able to apply for citizenship after the same number of years that is now required for stateless individuals and individuals who are adopted as adults.
And only have to reside in Italy for 5 years. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the requirements for Italian citizenship through naturalization?
Yeah, of course, the change would be beneficial for non-EU citizens who are residing in Italy or who are planning to reside in Italy in the future. I'm saying this because EU citizens, they have an easier path to citizenship through residency. They can apply for citizenship through residency after only 4 years of full-time residency in Italy. Also, people of Italian descent who don't qualify for citizenship by descent have an easier and quicker path to citizenship through residency if they reside in Italy, because they can apply for citizenship after only 3 years of full-time residency in Italy, but only if they have an Italian-born parent or grandparent. So it doesn't work with great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents or any other generations. So if the referendum is approved, the change in the law will be particularly beneficial for non-EU citizens and people who don't have Italian ancestry and who want to relocate to Italy to acquire Italian citizenship. It will be sufficient, like we said, to live in Italy for only 5 years before being able to start the process. Now, after the 5 years of legal residency, it will be possible to file the application for citizenship through naturalization. So it's not that you become an Italian citizen instantly after the 5 years. After the 5 years, it's possible to start the dual citizenship process, which involves gathering some documents, including proof that you have resided in Italy for the 5 years without interruptions, proof that you have sufficient income to support yourself in Italy, proof that you have clean criminal records, and proof that you can speak Italian. In fact, it's necessary before you can submit the citizenship application to pass a language test. The level required is lower intermediate, so you don't have to be extremely fluent, but you have to pass the language test to be able to initiate the dual citizenship process. And the language requirement was introduced in 2018. So before that date, it wasn't necessary. And proof that you can speak Italian. In fact, before it's possible to submit the citizenship application, you need to pass a language test. The language test was introduced in 2018, and the level required is B1, so it's lower intermediate. So you don't have to be extremely fluent, but you have to pass the language test, which again was introduced in 2018. Before 2018, it didn't exist. For citizenship through residency, anybody who has submitted the application after 2018 needs to pass the language test in order to be able to obtain citizenship through residency.
One quick thing, you mentioned there is the necessity to show that you've been residing in Italy for the entire duration of this requirement, whether it's going to be 5 years in the future or until now, 10 years. How would a person actually demonstrate that they've been legally residing in the country during whatever this amount of time will be, 5 years or 10 years?
First of all, if you are a non-EU citizen, you need to have obtained a visa that allows you to relocate to Italy. And once in Italy, you need to have obtained a residency permit from the local immigration office. So say, for example, you have obtained a retirement visa through the Italian consulate. in the US and you have relocated to Italy with your visa, you need to obtain a residency permit from the local immigration office, which is what allows you to continue residing in Italy once you arrive in Italy. And the residency permit needs to be renewed normally every year, but of course it will depend on the type of permit. So the residency permit is one of the documents that shows that you are legally residing in Italy, but you also need to obtain a document from the municipality or municipalities in which you have resided, if it's more than one, that shows that you have maintained your residency from a legal standpoint without any interruptions during the 5 years or 10 years, which apply to people who are applying right now that are required by the law.
Very interesting. And Marco, you mentioned also that it's necessary to have a background check to be able to submit when you are applying for Italian citizenship. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that kind of fits within this whole process?
In order to apply for citizenship through residency, it's necessary to present criminal background checks from the country or countries in which you have resided prior to establishing your residency in Italy. For people from the US, it's necessary to obtain a criminal background check from the federal government, so from the FBI, as well as from every state in which the person has resided. Now, if you don't have a clean record, it's still possible to apply for citizenship through residency if the maximum punishment for the crime that you have committed does not exceed 3 years of imprisonment.
Well, Marco, thank you so much for sharing with us about this upcoming referendum, as well as applying for Italian citizenship through naturalization. But of course, if anybody is needing further assistance from you and your team, how can they get in contact with you?
People can contact us through our website, ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com, or give us a call. Our phone number is on our website.
Absolutely fantastic. And of course, if you're needing any more information about getting to Italy, moving to Italy, Italian citizenship, Italian visas, and more, be sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel as well as the audio-only podcast. But of course, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, that means you're automatically also subscribed to the Italian Real Estate Podcast, another project that Marco and I collaborate on, where we talk about the ins and outs of purchasing property, renting property, and where to do so. And also, if you're interested in other topics to do with life abroad as a dual citizen expat, be sure to come over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rafael Di Furia, or you can search for Not Your Average Globetrotter on your favorite podcasting platform, YouTube or Google. But of course, again, we have been here with Italian attorney Marco Permunian from ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com. I'm Rafael Di Furia. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you all next time. Later.
Thank you.